In many of my videos I have CRT displays in the background, in the foreground, showing stuff, and so in this video I'm going to be covering why I kind of like them so much and why I still use them despite there being really cheap LCD monitors available to purchase now, and why I still sort of hark on back to the CRTs. So in terms of the two monitors I have, for my main sort of screen I have an IBM E94, which supports up to 1600 by 1200 with 1280 by 1024 at 85 Hz being the native resolution. And up there I have an HP 7540, which is 1280 by 1024 with 1024 by 768 at 85 Hz being the native resolution. So you can see IBM display forms part of my sort of 3 display setup on my main computer. And one of the reasons that I keep the CRT here is because it's very colour accurate. It doesn't shift or anything like that, and it's kind of also got quite a nice cool colour temperature too. I think it's about 8,000 degrees Kelvin or something. Another reason why I like these displays is that they're ultra reliable. So I mean, you know, these LCD monitors, a lot of them I've had to sort of replace power supplies and stuff on them, and they're relatively new. I mean, certainly the LG display, there's only a few years old. I haven't replaced the power supply on this Dell one, but I know that some of them do need replacing sometimes. But I mean, the CRT just work every time. But it's not only as simple as that, it's that they accept an awful lot of resolutions. Now for most people, that won't make too much of a difference. It can make a very big difference because these don't tend to transport the display information from the monitor to the computer, so the computer doesn't know what resolutions are available. So it means, depending on what you had connected to the computer previously, it can quite easily send the wrong resolution to the display. And LCD monitors do not like that. They just simply sort of refuse to display an image. And of course, if you can't access the machine, you can't change it, so you're kind of stuffed. Another reason I like the CRTs is that they can take pretty much any resolution and display it well. So certainly with LCDs, if you fire the wrong resolution at them, the image tends to look quite blocky and just generally really bad. Whereas, you know, this display, I can look at all the resolutions that are available for it, so I can run it at, say, 1280 by 768, and you can see, there you go, and it looks, you know, sort of pixel perfect to me. It looks really, really sharp and really good, and you can see it has loaded it loaded it in wide. And another thing that I like about CRTs is that you can adjust the image area. So if I just go in here, I can move the position and I can adjust the size. So I can choose sort of where I want it to consume on the screen. And you can also use this to make the image very small, so that you can then get quite a bright image right at the centre of the screen. So in this case, I've now got it set up like that, and you can see that there's a fairly small image just taking up the centre part of the screen, but the image is really bright. I mean, you can see the borders around the image, but I mean, that's absolutely fine. And of course, also, this screen does keep its separate profiles. So if I just set it back to its usual, which is 1280 by 1024, it then looks like that. And I mean, I do change it between being sort of full size and being slightly smaller, because like I said, being slightly smaller, you can just edge a bit more brightness out of it. But I mean, it is already a fairly bright display as it is. I mean, if I put the two side by side, I mean, you can see the Dell display at nearly full brightness isn't really out-competing it that much. But certainly from sort of this view here, you can see how the CRT is definitely a fair bit cooler in colour temperature wise than the LCD display is. In fact, also what I remember from this CRT is that dependent on its display signals, you can run it at resolutions quite far above 1600 by 1200. In fact, I've run it at 2.5K in the past, which is utterly ridiculous. But it didn't really seem too fast. But I mean, that's what 1600 by 1200 looks like. And you can see, even with the image scaled down to use up this sort of part of the screen area, it is really sharp. And the image is really, really good. I mean, the camera's not really doing it justice because of the flickering. But it is a really sharp display. And yeah, that's just yet another reason I like it. The only disadvantage that I would say to these kind of displays is that they get very, very warm. I mean, I can just feel the heat coming off that, which is great in winter, but isn't quite so good in summer. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, even like these LCD displays give off their own fair share of heat as well. So it's not just a case of it being the CRT. I mean, I just love the sharpness. I mean, the other good thing with it is it doesn't look like it's being over sharpened. It just looks sharp, and it just looks sort of very clear. But I mean, as you can see, compared to my other widescreen displays, it does look a little bit out of place. Because obviously, like I said, this machine's being fed off these two. And yep, you can do exactly the same with this monitor as well. And I mean, they've all got fairly simple menus. I mean, they look rather crude, but I mean, they do work very effectively. And actually, I mean, you can change the colour temperature here. So 5500K is more like what an LCD has, or maybe 6500. But 9300 is pretty much what CRT's like. And yeah, you can see you can change all the different colour settings there and everything. But of course, it's being a CRT, you've got rather more than just that. I mean, you can degauss it, which does that. And I mean, that causes this screen to flicker a little bit, because obviously they're quite near each other, so the magnetic field is enough to knock the coils on this one a little bit. Then you've got, I can't remember what that does actually. That seems to just knock the sharpness down a bit actually. What's this, like rotation or something? Yeah, you can rotate the image. I'm not completely sure why you'd want to do that, to be honest, because it does have a stand which does let you do pretty much the same thing. And then you've got like, what do you call it? Like keystone correction. But I mean, you see you've got all these different types of keystone correction and stuff. So you can just drag the image into really weird shapes, if you so wish. You can try doing that with an LCD monitor, you youngsters who haven't really grown up with these things. So yeah, I mean, they're quite flexible little displays, although what I will say is, I mean, these two displays are VGA input only, whereas say, I mean, certainly this screen, the LG one, has got quite its fair share of inputs, if we just have a look. And, you know, some of them are digital, and pretty much the same for the big Dell. But I mean, I really like having sort of the increased sort of vertical as well. Because I mean, having to have like a 24-inch screen just to have the same vertical height as this on its maximum resolution is perhaps a little bit weird. And certainly for doing documents, it feels much better than, say, having such a widescreen. And I mean, this is 1200 high, so this is much better than the LG, which is just a normal 1080p display. And yeah, that's the CCTV feed. So if I just go back a bit, you can see me. Hello. Oh god, this turned into a bit of a ramble now. But yeah, that's why I like CRT displays.